Karl Marx once said, "Philosophers have only interpreted the world in various ways. The point is to change it." We live in a far from perfect world. The utopias dreamt of centuries ago, the alternate universes, meticulously built brick by brick in the minds of great men, have yet to take concrete shape and become a reality. The problems seem never-ending. The obstacles standing in our way seem impossible to conquer. Misery and injustice are still very much alive, rampant in all corners of the globe. Poverty, hunger, sickness, suffering takes on so many forms, forms which unfortunately pay little regard to borders or boundaries. The havoc we wreak on Mother Nature increases in intensity. Day by day, the wound we leave on the earth grows deeper and deeper. Progress seems almost synonymous with destruction. Pollution, devastation, and waste occur in tandem with unchecked economic growth and development. 3 centuries ago, Thomas Malthus spoke of the world's end. To his mind, the fragile earth could not bear the ever-growing demands imposed upon it by an ever-multiplying population. He believed there was simply not enough to fulfill the needs of man. Fortunately, the bleak future he spoke of never came to pass. Luckily for us, Malthus overlooked the potential for technology, for innovation to provide for our wants and needs. Gandhi's words find resonance today. It seems he uncovered a fundamental truth when he explained that the earth provides enough to satisfy every man's need, but not every man's greed. To me, the problem is not a lack of resources, nor an overabundance of people. I believe the real problem facing the world today is one of inequality. Not enough attention is paid to those within the deepest clutches of poverty. Not enough consideration is given to those who will inhabit the earth tomorrow. In David Brower's words, "We don't inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children." Sustainable development has been the core ideal, the foremost priority of the United Nations for years. The belief is that societies can and should grow, provided that such growth gives due consideration to the future. The words have been uttered time and time again that by adopting a policy of sustainable development, we can collectively meet the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. By seeking progress equitably and sustainably, we could very much eradicate the issues of scarcity, of food security, of ecological destruction and climate change, which permeate today's global arena. Sustainable development could make such concerns obsolete. The policy is an attempt to balance economic progress in the developing world with the needs of a multiplying human population, while taking as an imperative the need to preserve Mother Nature and the Earth's most precious resources. It is my conviction that this policy, collectively adopted and faithfully adhered to, represents the key to a better tomorrow. This was the topic of a discussion at a conference held 20 years ago, the Earth Summit, wherein world leaders came together to lay the foundation for what they believe to be a brighter tomorrow. In the words of UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, 2 decades later, we are back to the future. The challenges facing humanity today are much the same as then, only larger. Our actions have had a detrimental impact upon the earth, gashing as well as biting the hand that has fed us since time immemorial. Our chart to economic progress has left a gaping hole in the world, a hole we must work together to fill. It is true that our track record has been far from perfect. Our mistakes have had tremendous consequences, affecting our own as well as future generations. But if science has taught us anything, it is that humanity as a whole has and will continue to evolve. Mistakes are not necessarily fruitless. The human capacity to evolve means that we can collectively learn from our own errors as well as those of our predecessors. The upcoming Rio +20 conference symbolizes an opportunity to rectify our wrongdoings in the past, to look at the world we inhabit in a different light in the hopes of securing a better tomorrow. We can change the way we treat the earth, but we must act together in what the Secretary General has called a global coalition for change. Together, we can create a blueprint for living in true harmony with nature. The earth has not been the only victim of unchecked industrial and economic progress. In many societies, the success of an elite few has magnified and intensified the deprivation and suffering of many. Countless people still live in conditions characterized by lack and want. These are the human faces of poverty in its economic, social, and environmental forms. Nelson Mandela once said that education is the tool with which you can change the world. I believe that human empowerment, that achieving universal access to education, food, and shelter is a vital and necessary step to true growth and development. No progress is possible if the lowest living standards of millions across the globe continue to be unaddressed and unabated. In my mind, the future we want and need is one of greater equality among individuals. Social equity is a prerequisite to any kind of growth. The problems we face today cannot be tackled alone. In our era, challenges are global in nature and thus require a global response. The mismanagement of the Earth's resources, of its land, air, and water, the insecurity of food, energy, and the other basic necessities of daily life, economic crises in both production and consumption, poverty, employment. These are the challenges which confront us all, which transcend boundaries and moreover have a great impact upon us individually. We are equipped now, however, more than ever, to face such obstacles together. Armed with today's tools, with revolutionary advances in science and technology, we are ready to make our ideal world, our shared vision, a reality. Today's digital platforms have allowed the voices of even the most marginalized in society to be heard and broadcasted across borders. Space and indeed time have collapsed in this era of globalization. I believe that we can use all of these to our advantage. We must harness the potential technology and increasing interconnectedness present to change the world and the lives of those who inhabit it for the better. We still live in a far from perfect world. The utopias dreamt of centuries ago, the castles in the sky constructed in the minds of those dating back from Plato himself, have yet to take concrete shape. The obstacles seem impossible to overcome. The list of problems grows daily. And yet, hope can never truly be lost, for we live in a world where a single act can make a tremendous difference. Words uttered by a complete stranger can have massive repercussions for people millions of miles away, and reverberate all across the world with a single click of a button. We are living in a time when an individual we have never met before can leave a permanent mark on our lives, transforming us forever. The problems may be infinite, but so are the possibilities. Rio +20 is fast approaching, and with it the promise of our brighter tomorrow. The world we seek, the future we want, is one which can only be achieved together. The solution lies in maximizing our shared capacities, harnessing our collective potential. We are mere days away from a gathering which could fundamentally change the way people all over the globe see the world we live in and how we should live in it. Individuals from virtually every nation and nationality, from vastly divergent backgrounds, and coming from opposite socioeconomic classes will come together to bring about much needed change. And in a world of constant change, we must unite to transform it for the better. Rio de Janeiro will very soon become the backdrop of a concerted effort to make the future we want a reality. Tomorrow may seem uncertain. What the days ahead have in store for all of us cannot be known beyond the shadow of a doubt. The future presents wild and uncharted territory, a landscape of insecurity. Hand in hand, however, we must explore this unknown territory together. Side by side, we must work to build our utopia brick by brick. After all, our promising future, our brighter tomorrow begins today. Thank you.